How's it going, everybody? This is Nathan at Kenton Equipment Company, and we are Northern Kentucky and Greater Cincinnati's 5-paw premier coyote dealer. And I have been dying to get this video made and out. 3 years I've been thinking about this, and here we finally are. Kioti has finally released the compact track loader and skid steer, the first one in the Kioti compact construction lineup. We're going to see more stuff in the future, but this is the first release. This has been announced for a long time. I drove these 2 years ago. They've been announced for 3 years. They've been in a lot of demo and prototype phases that had a lot of changes and updates and things they wanted to fix and improve. They really did it right before they released these. They took a lot of time and improved them and got them perfect before they released them to the public. And it's taken a long time, and we've had to wait, and I had to deal with customers begging and asking us to get them in and get them in their hands. But sometimes it's better to wait and get it right than do it fast and do it wrong. But today we've actually got them, and we're going to do a walk around. We're going to talk about some specs and some information and some design philosophy, and then we're actually going to drive one. I'm doing the new format where I've got both my hands available, and you can actually ride along with me as I do this. We can take one for a spin. Something that's kind of cool, if a Kioti dealer gets skid steers, they will have a demo, loaner, rental, etc. unit. So every handful of skid steers we get, they're going to let us have a demo loaner, so just to keep the field supported and to get the unit out there in people's hands so they can try it. So I can actually use this thing today. I can really play with it. I say play, I can work with it, but to be honest, we've done a lot of playing with them so far this year. We're very excited. So you'll notice they don't have buckets on them yet. We got these off the truck, but we're still waiting on the buckets. I went ahead and stuck a grapple on the play unit because, something to do with it. But yeah, we'll do a walk around. So general specs of these things, they are 1 horsepower size initially. This is a 74 horsepower, so it is pre-complicated emissions. It shares an engine with the Kioti RX, so it's a 4-cylinder turbo common rail. It's a very tried and tested engine. It's been in that RX for a long time. It has been updated for a little bit for this application. It's got some additional cooling, but it's tried and true. I mean, we've had it a while, and we have good luck with them. So an RX engine, 73, 74 horsepower. It is a complete new hydraulic system, and actually I did break this one open so that we could see inside. We'll talk about how to do that later. But very nice central hydraulic system, high gallon per minute like we're used to seeing with all Kioti products. So this is pushing 22 gallons a minute standard flow. High flow will become available, but it's not a part of it yet. They're still working on those kits. High flow is going to push this unit up to 34 gallons a minute, which is going to be awesome. It's going to be able to run a lot of stuff, especially for this size. Controls are all pilot controls, direct connection pilot controls, so they give you a really good hand feel. It's not an electro-hydraulic system, so you have a lot more control and featherability with that. So we're excited to see that. And maintenance ability, is that a word? Maintenance ability. That is very well thought out in this. So easy access points for stuff. I really wanted to get the unit down here and break it open on the front and back so we can see all that. So as we walk around, I'll show you how easy access everything is compared to especially a lot of those out there. So yeah, other specs. And the specs are going to change between track and wheel a little bit, but let's see, I give it my cheat sheet here. So total lift height on the track unit is 10.5 feet. It is a vertical lift style as opposed to a radial lift. So vertical lift, as this arm raises straight up, it doesn't curl back like you would see on a tractor. On a tractor, as that loader lifts, the bucket kind of comes back, and that reduces your ability to reach out and dump into the back of a truck or wherever you're trying to dump. A vertical lift allows you to maintain the distance of that bucket or grapple or whatever else, so that when you dump, you can reach out further. It reduces your lift capacities a little bit compared to radial lift, but it's generally considered the preferred style among the world of skid steer. So vertical lift, your lift capacities or operating capacities You have about just under 3,300 pound operating capacity at 50% tipping load, about 2,300 pounds at 35% tipping load. So it really is close to the top of the pack there. It's not the absolute most, but it's on the higher end of these things. So very good capacities there. Your total weight of this thing, the operating weight with you know, fuel, and I think they rate it with a 165 pound operator. So most of us Americans are going to beat that number, but about 9,700 pounds, just under 9,700 pounds total operating weight. So it is a good hefty unit. That's also near the top of the range. We already ran over the 22 gallon a minute. That's at 3,335 PSI. So very good Stout hydraulic system. We have a 27 gallon fuel tank. So it is designed to go. And those are the specs. So now we get to walk around and talk about the thing. They actually did a really good job integrating standard equipment without having to buy it, especially in the cab model. And the cab models have become more popular than the track models these days. But in the cab model, all this stuff we see here is standard. The only thing they didn't stick on it out of the box was the high flow. So we have hydraulic hookup, that's standard equipment. It's already a 2-speed transmission on the fly, that's standard equipment. HVAC is already included. We're gonna put radios in them included with the full suspension seat in the cab. Very nice setup. So we'll talk about some of the stuff as we get in there. On the outside here, you're gonna see some really nice clean loader line integration. Nice hard steel tubing all the way through. Everything is on the inside, away from a place where it could get damaged. So you've got nothing but steel plate here. You've got nothing but steel plate there. There are no hydraulic lines sticking out exposed where they could get hit. Everything is on the inside and integrated very well. Nice heavy rollers all the way around, triples and doubles, designed to reduce the potential of a track coming off. So really nice heavy sit up there. Everything is clean and very washable. You have access to the inside, so easy to pressure wash out, which we're excited about. This is a rigid undercarriage, so there's a couple different ways in the skid steer world, and everybody's going to have a preference on this, so I'm probably going to get complained at by somebody. But a rigid undercarriage is solid, right? There's no flex to the tracks. There's no suspension built into it. It is stiff. So the upside to that is, as you're moving up and down over stuff, you have a lot of control over that loader. It also lets you, well, it's heavier duty, so it prevents, there's less stuff to break because there's less stuff moving, but there's some upsides. Like if you had a flexible carriage, then you would be able to ride a little bit faster over the ground, probably be a little more comfortable. But the issue the flexible carriages have is it's hard to get a steady grade with a bucket when you're pushing or pulling, because it doesn't have as much, the whole machine's not moving, it's not developing as much ground pressure there. So rigid carriage and easy access points on that. There's very little to break underneath. It's all solid steel plate all the way under. Hopefully you can see that. There's a few access panels for things, but nothing to break there. And then the back is the same way. So nice recessed grease points. Everything's tucked on the inside. The radiator is armored, and this is a really cool setup back here. So if we break into this thing, you can pull this whole back plate off with one lever. That guy opens up. And then, like I'll show you on this one over here, with these two bolts, 1 bolt, 2 bolt, the whole radiator swings out, and you have access to the whole rear end of the machine. So if we look over here, I've got fuel fill, I've got fuel filter, air filter, fan belt, battery, everything, oh, oil filter, everything is accessible right here. There's fuses and relays over there. So if I can't get to something from this side, I should be able to get to it from the other side. So between tipping the cab up and opening this back plate here, I can also get to the top this way. While we're here, we'll look at maintenance intervals. They've got a tag for that. So I can raise this up, and I can pin this up. I've got easy access to everything. It's really cool. Hydraulic filter is right there, more fuses and relays. From the front, this whole cab tips up with 2 bolts. There's 2 studs here, and there's some bolts and washers that sit on them when the cab is down. You just take those nuts and washers off, and the cab literally moves right up with one hand. It's got a really nice suspension to it, so you can just raise it right up. There's a safety lock for it, and you have access to every hydraulic hose and fitting right here. The whole pump assembly is right here. CCRT is right here. If you can't get to it from this side or that side, it'd have to be something very specific, because almost everything is accessible. Yeah, so maintenance is great. There's a little sight glass for your hydraulic oil right here built into the cab. A little toolbox, same deal, right there in the cab. And we're gonna get in the cab and really look at one of these. They're very spacious. For a 75 horsepower class, it is a really nice cab setup. So yeah, serviceability is great on these things. Now the fun part is on the inside. So as we look at these cabs, before we climb in, they are, well, both of these are the cab models. The open stations are going to be similar construction, but not quite as fancy. But we have LED work lights all the way around. That's standard equipment. You're going to have a full HVAC setup with filtration built in there, and it's a vertical lift door. You know, I think that's kind of become the industry standard. There's almost nobody who thinks the side swinging door is better. Most people want that vertical lift. So obviously that's part. It is a glass door standard. There is a demo door or a Lexan door as an option if you're really beating on it, but it is glass door out of the box. As we climb in here, we got handles. We got plenty of room to get in and out. It's probably going to be echoey in here, but sitting in here, we have got a vertical latch we grab, and that brings the door right down. If it's up, we can pin it closed with these guys here, and my door is locked. Controls in here are awesome. So plenty of room for my feet. You have an optional little footrest there, depending on if you like it or not. But footrest, you do have a foot throttle built in. Down here, the only thing is the toolbox, and then you have a seat adjustment. So that works like you would expect for the suspension seat. You have HVAC, you have a full screen, and this is also included. There is a reverse camera that's built into the screen. You have maintenance intervals in the screen we'll go over. There's a couple cool things you can do with it. But to start this, really simple. So these do not have to be down to start, but they have to be down for you to run it. So we're gonna go ahead and sit them down, turn the key over, and you have, let the beep do its thing. You have red for stop, green for go. So in order for me to start this, you have to be in park. That parks the unit. It also shuts off the hydraulics and keeps them from being able to move. So red for stop, green for go. All I have to do is hit the red button for it to be stopped. I can turn the key over. Oh. There we go. So from this point, as long as these are down, all I have to do is hit the green button to go. I don't have an e-brake or anything weird to hit. Green means go. So once I'm in, I'm in. And again, it's pilot controls. So a lot of featherability, a lot of control. I've got standard right side loader, left side move, just like you would expect. There's some other buttons built in here. Not all of them are usable yet, but you have a hydraulic auxiliary switch. You do have to have the button for those auxiliary hydraulics to come on. So you're gonna see it light up inside our controller here. Hit the button, auxiliary hydraulics work, and then you can hit this quick tab for your auxiliary hydraulics. You have a button on the back for your self-leveling out of the box, because that is included, I forgot to announce it, but we have self-leveling built into these as well. It's an option you can turn on or off. You'll have a light for that. And then there's some extra auxiliary buttons here. If you had something with an electric control, or if this had high flow and some different things, you could use these buttons to control it. But as of right now, I don't have anything to use them with. Over here, you've got a joystick with a horn, and then you've got turn signals built in, and you've got a high speed button on the back, so I can move between low speed and high speed on the fly while I'm working without having to take my hands off the stick. So there's a lot of controllability here. You've also got some other electronic controls depending on which side you want to set them up on. Over here you got your HVAC. Works just like you'd expect. It will run you out of here. It is very cold. It works great. 12-volt charger, USB charger with a little holder here. You've got your inside cab light right there. And then you've got a regen button if you needed it, because this will automatic regen like the RX does. You've also got your hydraulic hookup. So I can hit this to unlatch the hydraulics and then hit it again to latch them back. The skid steer hookup. Over here, we've got our stop and go. We talked about that, our auxiliary hydraulics. You have a lockout for your hydraulics. And then you've got self-leveling, you've got your road flashers, you've got your front wiper with spray that is included. That front wiper's part of it. Your turn signals, and then your light. That turns your cab lights on. You've got front and back built in there. So really the ones we're gonna use all the time are stop and go. You know, you jump in this thing, you hit red to stop, you hit green to go, you set your RPM with the dial, and you're good. I do want to point out how quiet this thing is. It's probably hard for you all to hear, but I'm in full RPM. I can still hear myself think. I've got this open. It is a very smooth running, quiet engine. They've got it, it's actually quieter in this than it is on the tractor. It is very well muffled, so it works great. So yeah, that's everything sitting here. Back here you got another cup holder. That's where the radio is gonna go. That is for your windshield washer fluid. And then everything else is inside our controller here. So this is pretty cool. There is a camera built in, so if I hit reverse, it automatically comes on, right? And then I can also force it on by just hitting the button. It's on. You have lights that indicate glow plug, regen, you know, operator presence, low battery, low fuel, that your parking brake's on. See, it comes on. Engine stop. If there's something majorly wrong with the engine, it'll tell you. Low oil. All that's built into a quick light, so you can see if it's on. But then there's further stuff inside the menu. If we go in here, we can access diagnostics out of the box. So you have right, left, and enter. So you just enter diagnostic. It'll tell you the status. It'll tell you if there's active fault codes, to kind of give you an idea of what to look for, so you don't necessarily have to call me. We can go back out of here. You can manage a couple things, including you know, maintenance info. You can program a phone number in. I think it's already got Kiot's phone number in there. So you can call Kioti service, or if you couldn't, if you wanted to put our phone number in there, you could call us. It's already built. This is not a phone, but it tells you our phone number. And then you've got other maintenance settings in here. The other thing you can do, so this is auxiliary control. I can program this, this M and F for hydraulic flow. So especially once that high flow is in this, we'll be able to set how fast we want our flow to be when we turn it on. Right now it's going to be 22 gallon a minute, but I could turn that down depending on what kind of implement I'm running. So that's pretty cool. You can program both of your auxiliary hydraulics to a certain flow. And then you have an update for software. And then over here you have configuration. You can adjust screen brightness and language and units and camera, etc. So pretty simple. I mean, this thing isn't it's not a TV. You can't watch Netflix on it, but it has everything you need. In the main screen, we've got coolant, we've got fuel, you've got lights that indicate what's on and what's not, you know, self-leveling and things like that. And then you got your engine RPM, you got your temperature, and your engine hours. It's very simple, works great, and it's really cool. So that's the boring part. Let's do the fun part. I'm gonna unlock these. We're going for a ride. Oh, what are we doing? So especially once I got the cab closed, I am very comfortable. You can open these windows here if I wanted to talk to somebody or get some air in. I've got a mirror up top for rear view, and I've got you know, access so I can see my loader all the way up. Watch. So I can see what I'm doing. Works great. That 10.5 foot is serious. Look at that. That's awesome. So driving these is really intuitive. I've got left stick for go, and I literally just go. Obviously it likes engine RPM, so I'm gonna give it a little RPM, and we're moving. Let's see if we can grab this steel. Oh, that's funny. I mean, probably if somebody was going to drive this, the one thing they would notice, these pilot controls are pretty jumpy because it's such a high flow system. You've got a lot of jumpiness here, so you really would have to get, if you were working on like an older skid steer or something, you would have to get used to these because they do work a little faster than you'd expect. But if you slow down a little bit, you can still feather everything like you would, expect to. But I mean, it works great. It really works great. I'm very, very impressed. For being their first iteration of this, you can tell they really pulled in the right people and got everything done the way it needed to be done to release something that was right the first time. Everything works great, no complaints from my end. So to get out of this thing, all I gotta do is hit red for park. I'm gonna sit this down first because that will shut off the hydraulics. So red for park. And we're done. I mean, it's that simple. So this is it. This is the Kioti SL750. Oh, and TL750. And we are really excited about them. Probably the most important thing that we should talk about is price. So we come out with something, Kioti, usually what they do is they come out with something and they are a little bit cheaper and a little bit higher spec than most of the competition. And I would encourage you to check our website out. I'm gonna point it out down below and see. I mean, is this thing gonna be really competitive for what you're looking at if you're in the market? I would hope so. So if you're curious about demoing one, come and see us. We've got them here. Demos are available. We'd gladly bring one out and let you try it. If you're curious about pricing, like I said, visit our website, build it out with whatever accessories or implements you might be interested in, and we can go from there. So our website's www.kentonequipment.com. And again, this is Nathan at Kenton Equipment Company. Thanks.